Let's go!
From the team that gave us Bob's Burgers on a streaming service I don't know any of my friend circle of having, Central Park is about a family that lives in Central Park and the misadventures that happen there. You can sum up the show fully by calling it Bob's Burgers with more musical numbers set in New York, and whether that makes or breaks the show for you, that's up for you to choose. As for me, I found myself fully enjoying the show and the characters in it, even though I fully felt the dynamic there may have been too similar at times to the Belchers, but they make their own and have their own identities to make them stand out, so that's good. The musical numbers are also a step up and really feel more lively given the New York setting, and the animation is also a step up from what we usually get on TV from the same studio. My only issue is the service the show is on, because I feel not many people have it, but if you do, watch it. If you don't, find someone who does. It's a good show and I highly recommend watching it. Perfectly fitting the topic of 2020, Japan Sinks 2020 is about what happens when an earthquake hits Japan, destroying everything and one family's journey surviving it all. One of the strongest aspects of the show, as it's subverting what happens to the characters as the show goes on and their journey to get to safety. At no point did I fully feel they were out of the woods and safe even for a second, and at points where there was a death in the group, I legit had jaw droppage. While the story is captivating and the characters in the show are relatable enough to make us worry for them and relate to their problem, some moments made me laugh even though there was no intention for the scene to be funny. Most infamously, this scene.
Oka-san, arigatou!
喋った。
But in the end, the show was still captivating enough to sit through and would wonder as each episode goes by what would happen next. It's gonna be a hit or miss depending on who watches it, but for me, it was a fun ride and I'm glad I got to go on it the first time I saw it. But I did have questions and issues about it when I saw it again, and I feel that's what you're gonna have too. Overall, go into this not with high expectations or low expectations, but with medium expectations. You will either love it or not. The choice is up to whoever sees it, but for me, it's a good show to only watch once. HBO Max gave us their Tiger King in the form of Class Action Park, which takes a look at the infamous Action Park, which is responsible for various injuries and deaths thanks in part to the insane attractions it had. The doc does not let up in terms of insanity it has to share, and will make you pause it just to take in what you just heard. From people who work there all the way to people who are patrons of the park, they all share their stories about this place, and also share stories of the park's founder, Eugene Moville. The documentary also goes into the controversies the park had. It doesn't shy away from discussing the more morbid parts when talking about the injuries and deaths caused as a result of this place. In all, it's really informative, and if you have that morbid curiosity in you about the sort of stuff, Class Action Park is the watch for you. Duncanville, another anime sitcom by misadventures of a family brought to us by Fox. But it's honestly good. Up there with Bob's Burgers while also being distant to where Family Guy and The Simpsons are doing now. It's funny, the characters are good, feels different from what we have on Fox already. Nothing really more to say. It's an alright show and a breath of fresh air for shows like these, and I'm happy it got a second season. Just watch it and you'll see what I mean. One of the darkest shorts I've seen this year, Opal is the story of a girl who visits a mysterious house and finds out some awful truths along the way. I loved how in this short, it doesn't really tell you everything in the beginning, and we start finding out the truth as she explores the house and the inhabitants in it. For it being a short, it doesn't really feel like time goes by fast as you watch it. You're glued to the screen and you get lost in the story. The musical numbers, the scenery, everything in the short gives off a creepy, surreal vibe, and it's no wonder why Adult Swim aired this before Halloween. And even though the short doesn't end on a happy note, it ends where you can fully accept the short like this can go. If you like dark creative shorts, then this is for you. The Recipe for Seduction is a KFC commercial disguised as a Lifetime mini-movie. Yes, a mini-movie, because they only had enough content for 15 minutes. But honestly, it's all good because that's all they need for something like this, because Lifetime either makes movies that are terribly good or terribly bad. So it's good they didn't push the gimmick too far to a point where it's unbearable, and just left it to where it was just passable enough. But you get what you get here. Mario Lopez is Colonel Sanders, a love triangle, a secret recipe. For what it is already, it's passable, and for a Lifetime movie, it's just bearable enough, so it's essentially harmless. After the pilot last year, it's so great seeing another piece of original web animation getting the attention it deserves, and Helluva is that perfect balance of what you can or can't do for a site like YouTube. The show now is building up more of the character backstories and adventures they can get away with Hitman Imps in Hell, but it doesn't shy away from emotional moments as well, and it'll be nice seeing where a show like this can go and explore character-wise and story-wise too. And before I hear anything else, while this and Hazbin Hotel are effectively the same show, I'm confident there won't be any forceful links between the two, and instead, leave the show to do its own thing it's already good at doing. The animation is breathtaking, the voice acting is superb, the jokes are dirty and funny. Hell of a Boss is a hell of a good time. With the Killer Bean movie being a cult classic movie that the internet loves, it's no surprise that the popularity of it would lead to it getting its own web series that's just as insane and tongue-in-cheek as the original movie was. It feels like a legit Killer Bean sequel, while also branching into the realm of it being somewhat self-aware of how insane the premise is. From the first few episodes already, I can already feel confident that the story will get more meta and insane as it goes on. And of course, it's sort of action that made the original movie so good to begin with. This is honestly my favorite action comedy web series of the year, and I can't wait to see what's next for this. So if you haven't already, go watch Killer Bean the series. I honestly see The Owl House as one of my top 5 favorite animated anything to come out of 2020. The series feels right at home as a decent replacement of Star Wars Forces of Evil and Gravity Falls. Each episode really does what it can to outdo the last, and really does its best in terms of world building, character development, and lore-centric when it does that. Most of the time you get episodic adventures where the character learns a moral lesson. The next moment, you're discovering that the main witch got cursed by her sister to be an owl monster for the rest of her life. So yeah, this show doesn't hold back when it's required not to do so. It's funny, heartwarming, dark at appropriate times, and really does well in animation with cool visuals and action sequences to match. I'm so excited to explore more with a show like this, and I can't wait to see what's next in Season 2. We Bare Bears the movie does a fine job at wrapping up the story of 3 bear brothers, while also providing very relevant and current themes of racial discrimination, separation, and acceptance in the process. I'm surprised Cartoon Network was able to let them explore that here. While most animated shows have double-length finales, or barely even a finale at all, not many I feel gets the deal of a movie being made to wrap up the series. Now I may be wrong here, but this and Big Picture Show are the only cartoon finales that I can think of that got a finale in terms of a movie, so that just shows you how much love there is for the show. But aside from that, the entire movie feels more cinematic than the series. We explore more of the bear's background, and we really explore these themes and ideas during the movie, which still does it their way, but still explicit enough for kids to understand. And while I feel more could have been done and explored in the series, this movie does an amazing job wrapping up the current story of the bears, and it's totally worth your time seeing. Finally, we have Smiling Friends, the pilot to hopefully a full series that debuted during April Fool's Day on Adult Swim. This was the perfect way to debut such a balls to the wall insane show that can only get more crazy from here. It's all about a company that tries to make people smile, and it doesn't take long for shit to go sideways for them, but be hilarious for us. The best way to describe this show is if the creator of this was supposed to make a show for kids, but before he wrote it, he smoked a lot of crack, and this is the result of his very wild hallucinations. This series was created by YouTuber Psychicpebbles and really doesn't hold back in how it presents itself. It's funny, dark, depressing, and confusing moments for all 11 minutes. It's a NyQuil and coffee fever dream in the best possible way, and I seriously hope we get more episodes soon to match with Adult Swim's created the original lineup.